Good morning, bedheads. Click. I am really got the bedhead going on today. I went to bed with my hair wet last night, so there you have it. How's your bedhead looking today? So, did you know you're awesome and that you need to keep that shit up? This is a mug from someone in the community. Isn't it adorable? You're awesome. Keep that shit up. I mean, seriously. We really do have to remember that we are doing an awesome job. We really have to remember that, and we need to keep that shit up, okay? Honestly, however you are processing everything that's going on, however you're processing it, if you are just laying in bed all day or you are up moving around, you are doing awesome. Okay. I just want to say, because, when we've got our little dumpster fire going on, and you know what? I've come to realize that the more I learn about astrology, which is really, really new to me. I mean, horoscopes and stuff. I've never really got into horoscopes, but the more I learn about the moons, how the planets are aligning and how they're shifting and how they move backwards and forwards and they shift, I realized that we are doing awesome because here's the thing, we don't have that much control is the more I learn over about astrology is that we are sort of, I don't really like this. Yeah, I don't really like saying it this way, but we are basically controlled by the way the universe needs to flow, let's just say, okay? And I'm really grateful that I'm starting to learn this. I'm not sure I'll ever get to a point where I will be interested in learning how all the specific names of the planets and stuff. That's not really in my field house of how I take in information, how I learn information. It's way too specific for me. But understanding the bigger picture, which is where that's how I learn, according to the Myers-Briggs, um, is that just understanding that like I was definitely in a Mercury retrograde, what I would call a slump. But I look back at my life and I'm like, how many times have I been in that slump? And I would be like, I'd say to a friend, oh, I just don't feel motivated today. What is wrong with me? And I would always think there was something wrong with me. So I find that really interesting because it's not. There's not something wrong with us. It's the universe. We can't control this shit. So all of us, honestly, oh my gosh, we are doing awesome. So keep that shit up, okay? We really do need to chill because, again, there's so much out of our control. And I think our egos, at least mine, that's one of the things we've been exploring in shadow work this week. That's one thing we'll be talking about. Um, and that's what I'm going to be talking about because that's what comes up in me, the need to control things. Okay. Because you need to control it because it makes you feel better. It makes you feel like things are not out of control. But here's the thing, like, what if we just let things be out of control? Just let things be out of control. Manage your own personal space. But I think, especially right now with the dumpster fire going on, you know, I got to give this little guy a name. His name's Dumpster, or I don't know. He's so cute. Um, I think with everything going on, I think that's why it's so disturbing because we are trying to control things because it's so out of control, it's so out of control. And the nice thing about understanding astrology right now is that is what is expected at this time based on how the planets are aligning. Okay. And so really there's a couple of things I've been reminded of What I find interesting is what I'm learning about Mercury retrograde is how the planet moves backwards, which is why you don't feel like moving forward. You feel like that's why they say during Mercury retrograde, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is my understanding. Mercury retrograde, because the planets are shifting in reverse, whatever planets, are doing the retrograde. Because it's shifting in reverse, it's a time for review, not a time for new, because you're not feeling that. And I totally felt that the last couple of days. Now, it lifted yesterday. I literally said to my sister, Marcia, I just got out of the retrograde slump and I finished the sales page for the community business directory. I mean, I cranked that thing out yesterday. It took me a long time. But I cranked it out and I was motivated to do it. I hadn't been motivated to do it up until I wanted to do it over the last 6 days. And I was like, oh, I can't do it. So we have to remember these things. I think that's so important so that we don't beat ourselves up about the changes that the earth is going through, that the paradigm shifts, that the planets are expecting of us, are requiring of us. They're requiring it. That's why there's so much going on. The rise of divine feminine is going to shake up the old paradigms. When they're, and what's happening is we're holding on to old paradigms because that's what we do as human beings because it's more comfortable. We're holding on to those old paradigms right now very fiercely, like, and that's when we're going to see this strife, and it's required of us. We don't have a choice. So I do kind of wonder how much stuff is actually within our control. And that's why you want to, I think, like I wrote down in my notes, local, stay local, do what you can locally. I think it's interesting to hear what's going on around the world and what's going on outside of your local community. It's interesting, but it can drive you a little nuts because it's so much, right? The other thing I came up that it occurred to me today, I was thinking about politics in relation to the Myers-Briggs. So some of you might know if you've been around the channel, if you're new, I worked in higher education for about 30 years total. I was in residence life for 5 years, and then I worked in academic advising most of the rest of my career. And I was certified as part of that work in the Myers-Briggs. Okay. So I've worked with it a lot. Okay. I wouldn't say I'm an expert at it. I just have general, I worked with students a lot with the Myers-Briggs, helping them understand things about themselves. And so I decided this morning, I was like, I took a look at politics and what is it about politics that drives most of us nuts? And I think, again, I would love to hear your perspective. I just started thinking about this. If you look at the second letter in the Myers-Briggs, okay, the second letter, I'm not going to go into a full Myers-Briggs training here, but if you look at the second letter of the Myers-Briggs, it's the S and the N, sensor and intuitive, okay? And this is how you take in information and how you learn, okay? You were born with an innate personality trait of either sensing or intuitive, okay? Intuition. It's not what the kind of intuitive we talk about here in terms of spirituality, but it's basically the sensor. If you're a sensor, you learn by understanding the steps. You need to know the steps, A through Z, to understand some information, okay? So people who go into science, people who go into medical professions are really good at because they have step by step, right? They're really good at those professions because that's how they learn, okay? People the intuitives are big picture. They learn by big picture, which means it doesn't mean that they don't need the steps, but they need the big picture first. If you don't tell me why I need to know something, then, and I'm going to get back to politics on this, but why I need to know something, I won't listen to you. I just can't even listen to you. If you start giving me the steps right away, I'll be like, why are you even telling me the steps? I don't even know why we're doing this. And so, anyway, so it has a lot to do with people learning in the classroom and instructors, how most faculty, there's a high percentage, not most, but a high percentage of college faculty are intuitives. And so that's why they have a harder time teaching some of the kids the steps, because they don't know the steps, because they don't care about the steps, when it depends on what you're teaching. But again, I'm generalizing, but a large percentage, a higher percentage of faculty who teach in college are intuitives. So that's just fact based. Okay. So anyways, when we think of politics, I think it drives all of us nuts because they don't do either. They don't tell you the how and they don't tell you the why. So let's think about these tariffs that just went on. There's no why. We don't know the why. We're all out here speculating what the why is, right? They have their why. So F-45 and whoever is planning this, they have their why, but they don't tell us the why. They leave us guessing. Drives you nuts, okay? Because we can't learn, okay? So we're all out here trying to figure it out. We're all spinning. And I don't think this is how politics is. I'm realizing this isn't just F-45. This is just how politics is, which is why it drives us all nuts. So, and then they also don't tell you the how, like exactly how they're going to do something and what the end result's going to be. They don't do that. They just leave you speculating. So I think I just kind of feel like I went a ding, 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 like hit on something, why it drives the entire population, because you are either a sensor or an intuitive. And if we all are one or the other, then we're all driven nuts by by the political system. So I think that's important to kind of realize in yourself that if you're being driven nuts by the system, that it's not going to help you feel better by continuing to be attached to it, continuing to pay really close attention to it. Well, you can pay a close attention to it, but if you can withdraw from the emotion of it, right? Because they're not telling you the why or the how. They never do, ever. That's why we're all looking for the JFK files to come out, the EP, the J, I'm trying to think, is it JE? The JE files to come out, right? The E files. You know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to say EPSTEIN. Okay, so that's why we're all waiting for those files to come out, because we don't know the why and the how. And it's a mystery. So, and the media doesn't tell us the why and the how. They just tell us the what. It's just the what. And I think that's why this community is so helpful for me, and it's helpful for a lot of people. One, because I talk about the why a lot. Now, it drives some of you nuts when I don't go into the how. I can't do the how because I don't know all the steps. Because that's not how I learn, So when I'm too broad, sometimes you have to go look for that yourself, because that's my way of taking in information and giving out information. Okay. I just think there's so much validity to the Myers-Briggs. And I know people can argue like it's not valid, it's not scientific. Well, I'm sorry, but there's 70 years of research based around it. It may not have been proven in the way that our science requires it to be proven, and I have used it for literally, let's see, I learned it maybe 3 years into my residence life experience. So I have used it for approximately 28 years, 27 years. And that's when I first learned about it. I was probably like 21, 22, and I'm 56 now. So I have observed people's behavior based on the Myers-Briggs for that long, and it's freaking accurate. I'm sorry, but so the more you can learn about that And the more you learn about astrology, I just think it makes our lives easier. Now, it definitely does make my life easier, them knowing the Myers-Briggs, especially with people outside of my immediate home. But like my husband and I, it has made it easier, but I don't always remember it when it comes to him. Like I've said before, if I just say, you're annoying, he's annoying because he is completely opposite of me except for the last letter. So he and I, thank goodness. I mean, we are both appreciate things organized. We both, I mean, he's actually more so than I am. We both appreciate things straightened up. We straighten up every single day. My sister's like, my sister Marsha's like that too. Everything's always straightened up. Like that's how she views the world, is that sense of organization. So, or how she organizes her time is organized, clean, straight. Where P's, perceivers, they don't have that same sense of organization. They're like, well, that big pile on my desk, I know exactly what's in there. Like, that's organized. What are you talking about? I know exactly where stuff is. It's organized. So anyways, so I think if we start to look at politics, I would love someday for politics, the structure of politics, to be broken down by that. It needs to be corrected. And obviously I'm not the one to correct it, but it would be helpful if it was for the people. If a system's going to be rebuilt because we are breaking down our old paradigms, right? If a system's going to be rebuilt between now and 2050, let's just say, according to the golden future, according to the great reset that Sterling talks about, I'll post Sterling's video below, or his channel below. So if that's going to happen, it would behoove us. Is that like a word that ages people? It would behoove us as a society to create something around astrology and create something around the Myers-Briggs so that we can make sure that we're communicating in a way that's helpful for everybody. So we tell the why and we tell the how, When you're teaching, if you're a teacher, we're all teachers. Everybody here has taught a little child how to do something. The best thing to do is tell the little child why you're going to teach it and then teach the steps. Tell them why first. If you're a censor, you may not do that. You may just say, let's learn how to do this. Start with this, then this, then this. But if you don't tell them why, they're missing part of the information. Okay. So I just think it would be interesting. So when you view politics from now on, when you are just getting the why, when you're just getting the what, which is exactly what the F-45 administration, well, they all do. That's all they do is tell us the what. Very rarely, unless it's a serious situation, will they tell us the why. I mean, I can think of examples, but it's boring. I don't need, you know what I'm talking. Yeah, I mean, I think you know what I mean. I don't think you need a bunch of examples for me to tell you, to help you. But see, that's my big picture learning. My sensors are like, yes, I do. I need a bunch of examples. Right now, I need examples. So anyways, okay. So just a reminder that we do have a full moon coming up on April 12th. And I believe we are still slightly in a retrograde. So Mercury retrograde until April 14th could get extra hard as the messenger is not only retro, but drowning in subjectivity. With both Venus and Mercury retrograding until the 7th. So that was yesterday. So we had 2 planets retrograding, which is probably why, if you felt a slump like I did, that's probably why. So that came out yesterday. Now we still have a Mercury retrograde happening until the 14th, but we had 2 of them. Well, no wonder. Okay, so I don't know. It doesn't say which one is retrograding. Well, it probably does up here somewhere, but so just kind of keep that in mind. as you plan new things, as you feel stuck, if you do, that's probably why. So I think that's helpful. So let's see. What else did I want to mention today? I think that's it. I think that's it. I'm going to be, actually, that's not it. Don't leave yet. I've got a message from the guides, and we have a card to draw today. So, let's do it. I was just thinking in terms of my schedule. I'm going to see a movie today. I'm taking a neighbor to see a movie to get her out of the house a little bit. We're going to see Snow White. I know it hasn't had good reviews, but I haven't decided if it had. I'll let you know if I liked it or not tomorrow. If you see me tomorrow, there is a very slight chance I might be taking the day off tomorrow. My husband's off, so I'm just going to wait and see how I feel. So if I don't show up tomorrow, don't panic. As if you would, silly. You wouldn't panic. I know you wouldn't, but I might take a day off tomorrow. I'm not sure. So, but yeah, do you guys know if Snow White, I'll let you know. I mean, if I like it, not everybody's going to like it the same way, but I have this feeling that it got bad reviews because of the controversy, because Snow White, my understanding, the actress is Hispanic or Latino. I'm not quite sure which one. Is that why the movie tanked? And the witch, I heard, is pro-Israel. So there's there's some political racist kind of situation going on with that movie. Is that why it tanked? Or is it really just not good? Whatever. I'm going to enjoy it because I think it'll be fun to see Snow White in a different. And apparently no prince shows up or something like that. So I think I heard one person saying that they read some comments like, well, how am I supposed to, I mean, I don't know if this is true, but how am I supposed to teach my kids about the real Snow White? It's like, oh, really? That's, again, paradigm shifts. We really don't want to be teaching our girls that a prince has to show up to save our lives. No, we need to shift all of those. We really do. I mean, how about a princess showing up to save the prince's life? You notice how that's not in any? Maybe it is in modern day cartoons, but not any that I grew up in or grew up with. What does that tell you? Good girls. Got to be a good girl so the prince shows up. Oh my God, that's a little bit of the shadow work I'm working on. The good girl, you're a good girl. Yeah. It actually just occurred to me because the one thing I'm working on with my shadow work is the relationship with my father. Some of you know that, but it just occurred to me at this very moment that he has said to me several times he preferred to raise girls. So he had 2 boys and 3 girls. Okay. He prefers to raise girls because we're easier. Because we're good girls. Well, we're good girls because you made us feel like we had to be good girls. That's my guess. And again, that's his perspective. I don't actually have hatred towards that at all. It's how he was raised, but that's society, right? It's society. So anyways, okay, here is the message. Let's actually review. So for those who are new, I do a pendulum message every day during Coffee with Karen. I didn't even say this was Coffee with Karen. Hello. And so the pendulum, my spirit guides, and I always now specifically ask all of our spirit teams, whoever's going to watch this now and in the future, to collectively give us a message. I'm very clear about that now. When I first started, I wasn't doing that with the pendulum a couple months ago. But now I do. And I'm doing the Law of Challenge. So if you're not sure what that is, I'll post the video here at the end of this so you can check that out. I have to do a follow-up to that. I haven't done the follow-up to it yet, but I always do the Law of Challenge. And so these are kind of new shifting behaviors for me in terms of, I would say, practice, my spiritual practice. So, and then I always ask our spiritual teams, all of ours collectively, to give us a message for our highest and best good. So I want them to tell us what they think we need to know right now for our highest and best good. I don't need to know something just because it's creating drama or just because whatever. You know, like when they gave us a message on 331 that Rasputin is dead. It's like, well, I'm not even sure then, because I just started doing this over like the last 4 or 5 days, asking for the highest and best good message. How is that in our highest and best good? I don't know. And so I'm hoping that by shifting this, it's starting to make more, like the messages will actually be more helpful rather than a mystery. So just so you know, that's kind of where I'm shifting, and I'm sharing that, one, to say how I'm shifting, because this is how we learn, and it might be something you want to adapt to. It may not, but also maybe something you want to adapt in your own spiritual practice. So, let's just review a couple. So on the 1st of April, I'm going to go through the messages really quick, okay? You might be able to see a thread or a big picture, okay? You are safe. Now, these are all political messages, by the way. So I do ask specifically for political messages for what's going on in the world, mostly the US, okay? But the world now at this point too. So 4/1 on April 1st, you are safe. April 2nd said sit tight home. Sit tight home. So sit tight at home. 3, you are safe again. Number 6, you stand strong. On the 7th, you're almost there. You're almost there. On the 8th, which is today, this is the message. And again, I asked for the highest good. Help is here. Help is here. Okay. And I said, why is this message for our highest good? I'm going to start asking that too. And they said, hope. Okay. So they are telling us help is here. Now you could take that literally or you could not. Depends on, we'll just wait and see. And what does that mean exactly? Is help here for you individually? But I did ask for a political message, so let's be clear about that. So help is here, okay? And it is a message to make sure we continue to have hope. So that's important to them. It may not be important to you. You may be like, oh, those frickin' spirit guides. Can't they give us something more interesting than that? I was like, when I first thought they were going to say, yeah, I guess I did think they were going to say help is here. And I went and I thought, are you going to tell us help is here again? Because I felt like they've been saying that a lot, but now that I just read over the last 7 days, they haven't. I mean, they really haven't said that ever. Help is here. They've said certain things in different ways, but but when they first started saying help is, I was like, are you going to say help is here again? Like I was annoyed. So I can imagine, I don't know, how do you feel about that? Help is here. This is why this, and then I said, why is this a message for our higher good? And they wanted us to know it's for hope. Okay. So however you interpret that is perfect. Okay. All right. Because there is no right or wrong answer when it comes to this stuff. All right. This is the deck they wanted me to use today. Again, for a collective message from all of our spirit guides. I have a deck. I always have to say this every day because we get new people on the channel. I created a deck of all of my oracle cards. So I have like 60 decks. Okay. And I shuffle those and then I wait for one to fall out. And then I check with the rods and this is the one they wanted. Okay. So Sacred Medicine. I love this deck as I love all of them. All right. So let's go ahead and get a message from this. I might do a pick one again. I might do a pick one. Okay. Let's just do that. Let's do a pick one. So right now I'm gonna lay down 3 cards. Our guides, our spirit guides, are going to prompt me to lay down 3 cards, okay, collectively. So I'm still called upon all of our spirit teams. So just kind of tap into yourself real quick. If you need to close your eyes, take a deep breath. If not, just whatever card has come to your, you don't have to make, you might get the message without even picking one, okay? Whatever card resonates with you is fine too, okay? Whoa, those cards dropped. 4 cards kind of dropped out right away. I don't know what to do. Okay, I'm gonna lay them down and I'm just gonna double check. So, I have said the prayer earlier today, so I guess I will say it now just to help you, but I close my aura to all but my higher self, the God consciousness, my guides, guardians, and all of those of the purest and highest light. And I ask Archangel Michael to please protect this channel and this community so it is only of the highest and purest light as well. Amen. Okay, good morning, you guys. All of our spirit teams here. Awesome. Okay, so the cards that flew out was prior to me saying the prayer, but earlier I did say it before as I prepared for this video. And did you guys want me to lay out the cards that are in front of me? You did. Okay. So are the 3 that you want in front of me? Okay. So which one are we not using? Do you want all 4? No. Okay, let's start with the one on the right. You want that one? Is that card number 1? No. Okay, well, we'll come back to that. What about the second card? Do you want that one to stay? Yes. What about the third card? No. And the fourth card? Okay, so we're going to get rid of the third card, but it looks like that's not in the order they want them in. So let's see. Okay, starting on the right, is that card number 2? Okay, so this one is number 2 because I already asked if it was number 1 and they said no. Okay, so is card number 1 in the right space now? Yes. And card number 2 is in the right space? Yes. Card number 3 is in the right space? Yes. Okay. All right. Well, that was easy. I didn't even hardly have to shuffle. Okay. So let's see. I don't really have a number. Let's see. Okay. All right. So 1 just popped into my head. Okay, number 1. Oh, look at that. So this really is a message individually or, regarding hope or help is here. And 22, you don't reduce the number 22, strawberry, love. I'm cracking up because I just watched this video and it was actually really good. But yeah, I'm wondering if there's a connection here. I'm going to post it below. It was a little bit on shadow work. It was a guy who had a whole audience full of people. He's got like 1.8 million subscribers. So obviously he's got some skills, what he's doing. I was really impressed actually what he was doing, but he had a woman come up and they were kind of dissecting, they were basically doing some shadow work, which is why I started to watch it. And she had said that she was disappointed. She was a little bit younger. So I understand this disappointment. I don't now as I'm older, but I understood her as my younger self. She was disappointed by her significant other only bringing her one thing for Valentine's Day rather than the 3 things she had recommended. And the one thing he brought was not what she wanted. Okay. So she was disappointed. She felt unloved. She felt like he didn't care. But he brought her strawberries. So that's why I'm like, okay, that's interesting. All right. So these are from the number 1s. Okay. This delicious red berry is calling you into a healing space for your heart. Traditionally, we call the strawberry the heart berry due to its shape and healing qualities. This medicine invites you into the internal flow of love, reminding you that love is not conditional. You are worthy of receiving it always. Where does love need to flow? Where have you been pushing it away or blocking it from entering your space? Are there aspects of your heart that feel broken, parts that need tending to? I love it. The one thing that the really good example he used, if you don't watch the video, is that he was talking about when we feel the most, why as adults we don't always feel worthy of love or unconditional love. And he brought out this baby doll and he said, so what conditions do you have on an infant? Like, is that infant worthy of your love no matter how that infant acts? And of course, most people are like, yeah, like, but at some point our parents start teaching us ways to be, right? And then we start feeling the conditions. But if you think about yourself as an infant, we all, not everybody, not all infants, unfortunately, have felt unconditional love. But for many people, if you can think of how you treat an infant, maybe not how you were treated, but how you treat an infant with unconditional love, that is how you should be treating yourself. That's how you should be treating yourself. Think of yourself as that infant that's unconditionally loved by you. And if you treat yourself just remember that as a symbol for treating yourself that way, because you're no different than that infant. That is exactly who you were. So there's no different than you being treated with that unconditional love that you were or should have been treated when you were an infant. So I thought that was really interesting. Okay, number 2, my number 2s. Oh, okay. This image came up. This is a card deck I used to do on New Year's Eve. We had a gathering in the spirit circle, a live gathering, and we did cards and it was fun. We're going to have to do that again. I'll just have to figure out my live feed and all that. So 35 seed, we got this card. That's why I'm mentioning it. Seed planter. I love this card. There's just so much, I don't know. I just love it. Intention. Okay. So these are for the number 2s. If you pick number 2, so 35 is 3 plus 5 is 8. So it's an 8 card. It only takes one seed to start the growth of a beautiful forest. The reverberations of your intentions, words, and actions are heightened at this time. It's an important season to be extra mindful of your thoughts and inner dialogue. So often we allow the same hurtful beliefs and self-defeating messages to play in our minds and hearts unchecked. This is why we're doing the shadow work. This is why I'm doing it, so that I can stop with the same repeating patterns over and over again in my head, Ask yourself, what is broadcasting from my soul today? Is this the frequency that I want to impart into the world? When you think of each thought as a seed of possibility, you feel the power that you hold as the creator of your experiences. At this time, you have the ability to choose wisely, to plant seeds of heightened consciousness and love for yourself. Infuse your sacred waters with the most healed vibrations for your body, mind, and soul. You are worth it. You are worth it. And you know what? I mean, it's just becoming more and more clear to me. I'm sure it's been obvious for many of you, just because we're all on a different journey. But the more you love yourself, that's the only way you can love others. You have to love yourself first, because when I don't love myself, I am crabby. Well, how am I supposed to love others when I'm crabby? Number 3. Oh, Star Nations. Oh, look at how pretty that is. Oh my God. Aren't these cards beautiful? I just like the simplicity of them. So this is an 11. 5 plus 6 is 11. Star Nations, ancestors. What do your ancestors have to tell you, number 3s? Could be having a message for all of us today. I'm finding a message in all 2 of those so far. Okay. In our traditional stories, it is said that we come from the stars and we shall return to them. When our time on this planet is done, we travel to the star nations and become part of the beauty of the cosmos. Oh, think of our loved ones who have done that. They are now a part of the beauty of our cosmos. Every night, our relatives and ancestors who have passed on watch down over us, their sparkle bringing light through the darkness. This card brings a message from a loved one who has passed, a relative who meant so much to you. They remind you that while they are no longer present in human form, their spirit lives on in so many ways. See their face in your living relatives and hear the stories they used to tell, now told by the younger generations. Watch for their presence in your dreams and listen for their messages in your times of solitude. Your loved ones from the Star Nation are close to you, supporting, guiding, and reconnecting to you. The memories and bonds you share can never be broken. This is beautiful. This, again, if you didn't pick number 3, this is for you. We've all had loved ones who have passed. There is a member of our community who recently, this week, just buried his 54-year-old son. And my heart is to you if we can send big love and hearts. I just came across his comment, and let's just send a lot of love and heart and hugs and love to you, light and love, because this is such a difficult time. So that's what it reminded me of. Your son, I hope you see this, because that was a beautiful message. So, and then for anybody else who's lost anybody, not recently or in the past, they are our star nations. I love that. I love that. All right. So I hope this was helpful and useful for your day. And I am not 100% sure, actually, because of the movie, that I'm going to be putting something out tonight at 7 p.m. I'm going to see about the energy. I would really like to get to the gym. So I should prioritize that. And then we'll see about tomorrow. So I'm going to be a little flexible tonight and tomorrow. Okay. I am recording next for the Spirit Circle, so that will be coming out. But tonight and tomorrow, I'm going to be flexible. And then, so for sure, I will see you on Thursday for Coffee with Karen. All right. Have a good one. Bye-bye.